Welcome you back to America's Forum Now. I'm J.D. Hayworth.
And I'm John Bachman. Joining us to talk about all this is the man you saw featured prominently in the beginning of this video, Congressman Kevin Brady of Texas, who chairs the subcommittee on health. Congressman, thanks for being with us.
John, thanks for having me, and thanks for letting me join you with J.D. on the show.
Well, we're always glad to have you here. The first question I've got to ask you, Congressman, when you heard about this delay, after asking those questions very clearly and having the Secretary answer them seemingly very clearly at the time, did you want to punch a wall? Did you just have to laugh when you heard about this? What was your response?
I had to laugh, to be honest, because I asked her the same question a year ago, and she said there would be no, she assured Congress there would be no delays. And of course, there were 8 major delays since then. So, you know, when I heard 2 weeks after she assured us again, they were doing yet another one. Look, the Secretary has little to no credibility left in this series, so it was not a shock.
Well, Kevin, we take a look at this, and obviously in your position now, I guess I should call you Mr. Chairman, chairing that health subcommittee on Ways and Means. But KB, all kidding aside, now we're getting a spin that, oh, look, there are 6 million sign-ups for Obamacare, and members of the partisan press are saying, look, this is a positive development for Obamacare. I'm just curious, how do you square the accounts of the cheerleaders in the Washington press corps for this socialized medicine? How does that square with the reality of your constituents back home? What are the real people in your district telling you about Obamacare?
Well, JD, I just met with some of our small businesses this morning in Northwest Houston. What they tell me is they see their costs going up, not down as was promised. They are cutting hours. They are holding back on hiring and expansion plans because of the uncertainty and cost of this of the Affordable Care Act. We had a pallet plant in Conroe, whose higher costs are the equivalent of them opening 2 new plants and hiring 100 new workers. They won't be doing that. In a small business owner, JD, that has pizza shops in Willis and Montgomery, 2 small communities north of Houston. He would like to add a 3rd store with 30 new employees. He's not going to do that because of health care costs under this plan and, of course, the proposed minimum wage. So it's having real-life impacts along Main Street.
Now, Kevin, another statement that I found quite shocking came earlier this week from Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid of Nevada when he said, gee, it's not the fault of the Internet that there was a snafu about Obamacare. It's just that many Americans, quote, don't understand the Internet. Now, KB, when I hear that, that's a kind of diplomatic way to say apparently Harry doesn't think his own Nevada constituents are smart enough to be able to sign up for Obamacare. But again, going back to your district and your real life experience, would you say that your constituents are having trouble with the Internet?
No, JD, they're certainly not. And in fact, they're smart enough to know that when they look for health care insurance, that these plans are not more affordable, that the deductibles are dramatically higher, sometimes 4 and 5 times higher, sometimes, you know, at $10,000, $11,000 deductibles. Their premiums, the monthly costs are much higher under these plans. Many of them have been forced off the plans that they were on. In real life, they have been. And so, no, as opposed to Majority Leader Reid, who thinks people aren't smart enough, the truth is they are plenty smart, which is why a lot of people, especially young people, have looked at this and said, no, thank you.
Well, Congressman, you talked about how Obamacare, some very specific examples of how Obamacare is slowing the growth of the economy in your district, a power plant or 2 power plants not being built, people not being hired. When you don't have those power plants, energy is sold as a commodity, less supply, more demand, the prices can go up. That's another crossover there. And we talk about these real impacts that people are having. I know your constituents are not happy with this law, but what are they telling you to do to fix it or replace it or repeal it? What do they want to see happen?
Yeah, well, their ultimate hope is that it can be repealed completely and replaced with something that actually focuses on them, not on Washington. They know it's going to take some elections to do that. In the meantime, they want us to delay as much as we can, including the mandate on them that force just average families to buy this government-approved health care. You know, small businesses and other businesses got a break, a delay, one of the many exemptions from the White House, but it doesn't solve the problem for them. It just puts it off another year. And so the uncertainty in the higher costs continue for another year. And so they simply want us to fight every portion of this because they just know it's the wrong solution for them.
Kevin, in terms of speaking of solutions, again, a very partisan press corps says, oh, no, the Republicans have no solutions. You know and I know that's not the case. There are a variety of different solutions. I'm just curious, since you're chairing the health subcommittee, what has become of the health savings account? Have you made any plans to reintroduce that, or do you have legislation to at least move forward those time-tested Republican alternatives like the health savings accounts or HSAs?
Yeah, J.D., yes. And if I recall from our service together on the committee, you were a champion of people having more control, not just over their income that they earn, but the ability to save pre-tax and to be able to buy a high deductible so that they take more power, really, over their health care options. The answer is yes. That legislation to expand HSAs has been introduced. Republicans are going to bring to the floor an alternative, just as we had ready to go during this whole debate over Obamacare. And, of course, Speaker Pelosi denied any vote on the Republican alternative, which was the only one the Congressional Budget Office said actually reduced health care costs by about 10%. Not that solves the problem, but for most families and small businesses, the reason they go without it is simply the cost of it. And so, J.D., you're going to see a Republican vision of what health care ought to look like. Speaker Cantor has said that he'll bring this to the floor before the November election so the American people can see it. I like this because the truth of the matter is I don't think simply running against this horrible bill is enough. I want people to see what we believe their health care could be like.
Well, a lot of folks are waiting for that alternative right now, or a series of alternatives, and they might have the opportunity, or a better opportunity, after 2014 when potentially the Republicans could retake the Senate. Yeah. Congressman Kevin Brady, thanks for being with us. Always great to talk to you, sir.
John, thank you, and J.D., good visiting with you.
KB, always a pleasure, Mr. Chairman. Well, we heard from the chairman of the Health Subcommittee. What do you have to say about health care and its future?